The storm outside was silent in the vacuum of space. Broken metal drifted slowly, pieces of a ship that once crossed the stars. For weeks, the human salvage crew had followed the signal, searching for survivors or technology they could bring back, but all they saw were ruins, floating like bones in a graveyard of steel. Captain Elias stood at the front window of the salvage ship, his eyes sharp. Beside him, the crew whispered about the danger. Alien wrecks were never safe. Sometimes there were traps, sometimes radiation, sometimes things worse than both. But this wreck was different. It was not just old metal. It felt alive. The salvage drones moved in first, sending back images of the broken corridors. Dark walls, torn wires, strange symbols cut into the floor. And then one drone froze, its camera focused on something small, half buried under broken steel. A hand, not a human hand, but long, with silver blue skin, the fingers curled as if trying to hold on to life. The crew laughed nervously. Just a piece of junk, one said. But the hand twitched. Everyone went silent. The scanners beeped. Dr. Marin, the ship's scientist, rushed to the console. Her eyes widened. "This is not dead," she whispered. "This thing is alive." The crew stared in shock. How can a hand be alive? Someone muttered. Marin explained quickly, "There is energy inside, genetic code still working. Something I've never seen before." She looked at the captain. "If we take it, we might learn something no human has ever known." The debate began. One crew member shouted, "It's dangerous. We should destroy it now." Another whispered, "It could be worth billions." But the captain stayed quiet, watching the screen. The hand twitched again, stronger this time. The fingers pressed against the floor as if trying to crawl. A dead ship, and yet this piece of life refused to die. Finally, the captain spoke. "Bring it aboard," he ordered. The crew hesitated, but no one dared to argue with his voice. The drone lifted the hand carefully, placing it inside a sealed container. As it was carried back, the ship trembled, as if the wreck itself gave a warning when the container arrived. The crew gathered around it. Through the glass, they saw the hand lying still, blue skin glowing faintly, veins like silver lines under the surface. Dr. Marin leaned closer, her breath fogging the glass. She whispered, "This is not just biology. This is technology, something far beyond us." The captain looked at her. "Can you rebuild it?" Her eyes flickered with fear and excitement. "With time, with the right machines." "Yes," she said slowly. "We could rebuild the body it came from." The crew gasped. The thought was insane, but impossible to ignore. A whole being, reborn from a single hand. But questions clawed at their minds. What kind of creature had this hand belonged to? And if it lived again, would it see them as saviors or enemies? That night, the ship was quiet, but inside the container, the hand did not rest. When no one was watching, its fingers tapped against the glass. Once, twice, 3 times, like a code. And in the silence of space, the humans did not hear the message. That had begun, a message that would change their world forever. The salvage ship returned to the human colony, orbiting the edge of known space. Its engines burned slow and steady, carrying not just scrap metal, but a secret locked inside a glass container. The crew could not rest, for every time they looked at the hand, they swore it moved a little more. Even in the sealed chamber, the faint blue glow spread like veins of light. It was alive, and it was waiting. Dr. Marin did not sleep that night. She stood inside the laboratory, staring at the container. Her mind raced with questions. What kind of species could survive like this, reduced to a single hand? What power allowed its cells to keep working when all logic said it should be dust? She whispered to herself, "If I can unlock this secret, humanity will never be the same." Captain Elias entered quietly, his boots echoing on the steel floor. "You haven't left this room since we docked," he said, his voice low. Marin didn't look at him. her eyes fixed on the hand. "Do you realize what this could mean?" She asked, "If a body can be rebuilt from this, then death itself could be rewritten." The captain frowned. "Or unleashed," he replied. But still, he did not order her to stop. Something in him wanted to see the truth too, even if it meant danger. The hand was placed into the colony's most advanced medical chamber. Machines hissed to life. Robotic arms scanned the tissue. Data flowed across glowing screens. The readouts showed impossible results, self-repairing cells. Energy reserves like a star packed inside flesh. Marin's heart pounded. "This is not just biology," she whispered. "This is living technology." The process began slowly. Cells expanded, split, multiplied. Tissues wove themselves together, as if remembering their shape. First came the wrist, then a forearm of pale blue flesh covered in strange glowing veins. The crew gathered outside the glass, silent, breath held. It was like watching a ghost grow before their eyes. Hours passed. The body continued to form. Muscles twisting, bones shaping, nerves stretching like silver threads. At times the chamber shook as energy surged through it. Lights flickered across the lab. Alarms buzzed. "Shut it down," one technician begged, but Marin's voice cut sharp. "No, if we stop now, we may never see the end." The captain said nothing, only stood with arms crossed. His eyes never left the forming body. Part of him felt horror, another part felt awe. He knew this moment would mark history, either the birth of a miracle or the opening of a curse. By the third day, the chamber's glass fogged with heat. Inside, a figure floated in gel, almost complete. The alien girl's skin shimmered faintly. Blue mixed with silver. Her chest rose and fell slowly. Hair like strands of white light grew from her head. Drifting in the liquid, she was young, fragile, but powerful. The humans could feel it even through the glass. Then the unexpected happened. Her eyes opened. They glowed faintly at first, then focused, sharp and aware. Gasps filled the room. "She's awake," Marin whispered, trembling. The alien girl blinked, confused, her gaze moving across the strange faces pressed against the glass. Her lips moved, forming sounds no human ear had heard. A language of echoes and tones, but no one understood. The chamber hissed open, steam spilling out. Slowly she stepped forward, weak but alive. Her legs shook, but she did not fall. The humans backed away as she placed one bare foot on the steel floor. Her skin shimmered under the lights, veins glowing like a map of stars. Every movement carried weight, as if the air itself bent around her. Captain Elias stepped forward first. He raised his hand slowly, showing no weapon. The alien girl tilted her head, her glowing eyes watching. Her lips parted again, speaking soft, broken sounds no one could understand. But her voice was filled with fear and sorrow. Dr. Marin whispered, "She's trying to say something." Then her body convulsed. Images flashed across the lab screen's unknown signals, pouring from her cells. The walls shook as machines tried to translate. Fragments appeared, pictures of fire, screams, ships breaking apart. The crew stared. In horror, they were not random images. They were memories, the girl's memories. She fell to her knees, clutching her head. Tears glowed as they rolled down her cheeks. Marin rushed forward. Ignoring the captain's warning, she knelt beside the girl, whispering gently, "It's all right. You are safe now." The alien girl looked up, her glowing eyes locked on Marin's face. She trembled, and with broken lips, she spoke her first clear word. "Human." The word hung in the air. The crew froze. She had learned it in seconds, pulled from the mind of the woman in front of her. The first face she had seen, the first word she had spoken, and in that moment, the bond was made. But outside the lab, sensors began to scream. Unidentified signals were moving near the colony. Something was coming, something that had been searching for this girl, and now it had found her. The colony on the edge of human space was never meant to hold great secrets. It was a mining outpost, a forgotten ring of steel floating above a dead world. But on this night, in the cold silence between stars, the colony became something else. It became a cradle, a place where life strange and unknown was about to return. The salvage crew moved quickly, carrying the sealed container down narrow halls. Inside, the alien hand twitched, glowing veins pulsing softly, like the heartbeat of something waiting to rise. Every crew member kept their distance, though no one spoke it aloud. Each step echoed with unease. It was only a hand, yet it carried a weight greater than any weapon they had ever seen. They reached Laboratory 6, a chamber filled with machines once used for human regeneration. The med pods were designed to heal wounded soldiers, rebuild broken tissue, extend fragile life. But tonight, those machines would do something no human had ever dared. They would attempt to rebuild a body from only a fragment of flesh. Dr. Marin's hands shook as she prepared the chamber. Her voice, usually steady, now carried both fear and excitement. "This technology was never meant for something like this," she whispered. Captain Elias stood behind her, arms folded, face unreadable. His eyes stayed on the container. "If it fails, we lose nothing," he said coldly. "If it succeeds, we may lose everything." The container hissed open. Mist drifted as the hand was lifted by robotic arms, lowered into the gel-filled chamber. As soon as it touched the liquid, the glow spread, veins of silver-blue light crawling across the surface. The machines hummed, screens filling with unknown data. The hand flexed once, twice, as if it had been waiting for this moment. Then the process began. Cells expanded rapidly. Fibers of muscle stretched and connected. Bone lattice grew like crystal under pressure. The hand became a forearm. The forearm became an elbow. Piece by piece, something was remembering how to be whole. The crew watched in silence, pressed against the glass. None dared to look away. Hours passed like seconds. By dawn, the outline of a body floated in the chamber, still incomplete but unmistakable. An arm, a torso, the beginnings of a face, even half-formed. It radiated a strange power. It was not human, not machine. It was both and neither. The lights flickered suddenly. Power drains swept through the colony, alarms flashing red. The technicians panicked. "The energy draw is impossible," one shouted. "It's draining the entire reactor," another warned. Captain Elias slammed his fist on the control panel. "Shut it down before it kills us," he barked. But Dr. Marin spun toward him, eyes blazing. "No, don't you see? It's rebuilding itself, not us her herself. If we stop now, we may kill her forever." Her words silenced the room. For the first time, she called it not it, but her. The captain stared at her, his jaw clenched, but he gave no order. The machines roared, lights dimmed, and still the body grew. By the second night, the form inside the chamber was that of a young girl, blue skin faintly glowing, hair pale as frost drifting in the gel. Her chest rose and fell in shallow breaths. Her fingers twitched like they were trying to grasp the world outside. The humans pressed their faces closer to the glass. Some whispered prayers. Others whispered curses. They could feel it. This was no ordinary being. It was a miracle or a threat. Then came the moment none were ready for. Her eyes opened, at first only a faint shimmer, like stars breaking through fog. Then sharp, glowing silver blue, cutting through the glass, as if she could see each one of them clearly. Gasps filled the room. The alien girl turned her gaze slowly, scanning face after face, until her eyes stopped on one person. Dr. Marin. The girl's lips parted. No sound at first, only a strange vibration that made the machines shake. Then words spilled out, broken, alien, like echoes from another world. The crew recoiled, some covering their ears. But Marin stepped closer, pressing her hand against the glass. Her voice was steady. Though her heart thundered, "You are safe." She whispered, "You are not alone." The girl blinked, her head tilting. Her lips moved again. This time, the word was broken, but clear. "Who?" "Man." The room froze. The crew exchanged wide-eyed glances. In seconds, she had learned. She had taken the word from Marin's voice, shaped it, owned it. The first face she had seen was a human. The first word she had spoken was human. Before anyone could react, the girl convulsed. Her body glowed violently, light bursting through her veins. The lab shook as machines screamed with warnings, screens filled with data, flashing in languages no human had ever seen. And then images appeared, not on the monitors, but in their minds, memories forced into their thoughts. Flashes of fire, a great ship tearing apart in the void, her people screaming as an unseen enemy tore through them, her own body burning, breaking, falling to nothing, until only a hand remained. The crew staggered back, clutching their heads. It was too much, too vivid. They were not watching her memories. They were living them. The images faded, leaving silence. The alien girl collapsed against the glass. Her body trembling, tears, glowing faintly, slid down her cheeks. Marin rushed forward, ignoring Elias's warning hand. She knelt beside the chamber, eyes locked on the girl's. "You survived," Marin whispered. "You're here, with us now." The girl's glowing eyes met hers. Her lips trembled. One word slipped out again, broken but heavy. "Human, but—" Before relief could settle, alarms screamed across the colony. Radar detected movement, multiple signatures entering orbit. Unidentified ships, approaching fast. The technician shouted, "They're not ours. They came for her." The captain's voice was like steel. "Get ready, everyone. This was no accident." The alien girl's eyes widened, her voice shaking. "They found me," she whispered, her English already clearer. Her body glowed again, not in pain this time, but with rising power. The human stepped back as the truth sank in. This was not just a survivor. This was the reason her enemies were coming. And Earth's outpost was now caught in a war they did not understand. The alarm still echoed through the colony, red lights flashing against steel walls. The crew rushed through corridors, shouting over the sirens. But inside Laboratory 6, time seemed to move slower. The alien girl knelt weak and trembling on the cold floor, her glowing tears leaving faint marks that shimmered before fading away. Around her, the humans were caught between fear and awe. Captain Elias kept his hand near his weapon, though he did not draw it. He had faced pirates, smugglers, and raiders before, but never something like this, a living being reborn from a fragment. He could feel in his bones that this girl was not ordinary. She was dangerous, but also innocent. It was a contradiction that made even a hardened man hesitate. Dr. Marin ignored the alarms, ignored the danger. She knelt beside the alien girl, speaking gently. "You are safe. Do you hear me?" Safe. The girl's glowing eyes turned, slowly fixing on Marin's face. Her lips parted, and again that fragile word escaped. "Who?" "Man." Her voice was broken, but this time it carried something more recognition. Trust. The first face she had seen was human, and that face now became her anchor in a world that was no longer her own. The crew shifted uneasily. One muttered, "It's copying us. It's learning too fast." Another whispered, "Maybe it's reading our minds." But none dared to step closer. The bond forming between Marin and the girl was clear, a connection invisible, yet powerful enough that the others instinctively feared it. Suddenly, the lights flickered again. The girl's body convulsed as if gripped by invisible hands. She fell forward, gasping, her skin glowing brighter. The machines screamed with warnings. Then it happened. Visions flooded the room once more, but this time they were not only flashes, they were whole scenes, sharp and merciless. The crew staggered, clutching their heads. Each of them saw what she saw. They stood inside another ship, vast and shining, alive with alien energy. Her people moved around them, tall, graceful beings with glowing skin and eyes like stars. They laughed. They spoke in a language of song and echo. It was beautiful. A civilization thriving far beyond human reach. But beauty turned to fire. The ship shuddered under attack. Explosions tore through corridors dark. Jagged ships pierced the void outside. Weapons spitting fire. Screams filled the halls as her people ran. The girl clutched her mother's hand, pulled through smoke and flame, but the hunters broke through. Armored figures with eyes like burning coals, they cut down her people without mercy. Her mother pushed her into a chamber, sealing the door with her last strength. The girl screamed, pounding against the glass. Then light, pain, shattering. Nothing, only darkness, only the memory of her hand, crawling through wreckage, refusing to die. The visions ended as violently as they began. The humans fell to their knees, gasping, some sobbing quietly. The alien girl curled into herself, trembling. Like a child, her glowing tears pooled on the floor. Vanishing into mist, Dr. Marin wrapped her arms around the girl without hesitation. The crew stared in disbelief. No one had dared touch her until now. But Marin held her close, whispering softly, "You're not alone anymore. Not anymore." The girl clung to her weakly. Her lips moved, and though the words were broken, they were clear enough. "They are coming." Marin froze. She looked up at Elias, her face pale. The alarms outside still screamed. The radar still flashing unknown signatures. It was no accident. The hunters who destroyed her world had followed the signal, and they were here. The crew erupted in panic. "We have to hand her over." One shouted, "They'll kill us all if we keep her." Another cried. Elias silenced them with a single look, his voice sharp as steel. "Enough. We don't even know what they want." But deep inside, he already knew. The hunters wanted her, and they would burn this colony to ash to take her back. The girl pulled weakly from Marin's embrace. Her glowing eyes scanned the humans. She tried to speak more, her words clumsy but desperate. "They hunt me if I stay. You die." The words struck the crew harder than any weapon. She was warning them, trying to save them, even as she shook from her own fear. Marin's grip tightened, her voice firm. "No, we won't let them take you. You're not alone anymore." But Elias frowned, torn between duty and survival. He had sworn to protect his crew, but what did protection mean now, shielding them from her, or shielding her from the hunters? Either choice meant blood. The colony shook suddenly. The floor rumbled, walls groaned, dust falling from vents. The hunters were here. Their ships descending, the crew rushed to their stations, a sound of boots and shouted orders filling the halls. But in the lab, silence lingered. The girl stood. Shakily, her glowing veins pulsing faster, brighter, she whispered again. First face. Human, her eyes fixed on Marin's, as if making a promise that would echo far beyond this night. Then the colony's lights went dark. Only her glow remained, silver and blue, a fragile light against the coming storm. The colony hung silent. Above the dead world, its lights flickering as enemy shadows closed in. The alarms had stopped, not because the danger was gone, but because the power was dying. Only one light remained steady in the darkness, the glow of the alien girl. Her veins shimmered like starlight, faint yet unyielding. To the crew, she seemed both their greatest hope and their greatest curse. Captain Elias stood in the command deck, watching the radar screen. Dozens of signals moved like wolves circling prey. Not human ships, not friendly, predators. And they were closing fast. His crew whispered in fear. "We cannot fight this," one said. "They'll tear the colony apart," another muttered. But Elias only clenched his jaw, his eyes never leaving the screen. He knew they had little time, and the reason those predators were here was still in the lab, down in Laboratory 6. Dr. Marin sat beside the alien girl. The others kept their distance. But Marin had no fear left. The girl's body shook with exhaustion. Her voice cracked and weak, yet she tried again and again to speak. Her words came broken, but the meaning grew sharper with each attempt. They destroyed my world, she whispered. Burned everything. Hunted us. Her glowing eyes filled with pain as images flashed again across the room. Not forced this time, but chosen, she wanted them to see. The crew stiffened as the visions filled their minds. They were not watching from outside. They stood inside the memory itself. The alien city stretched before them, tall towers of crystal and light, streets alive with beings of silver blue skin, their voices like music. It was a world of beauty, a world of peace. And then came the fire. Dark ships split the sky open, their weapons like storms. Explosions lit the towers, breaking them like glass. The ground shook as hunters descended tall, armored figures with eyes burning red. They carried weapons that screamed and split bodies. Apart, the humans could feel the terror, the helplessness. They could smell smoke, hear the cries of the dying. It was not just memory. It was reality forced upon them. The alien girl clutched her mother's hand, dragged through the chaos. Her mother's voice sang a final word, a word that carried love. Then she was pushed into a chamber, sealed away. Her small hand pressed against the glass as she screamed. The hunters tore through the door. Her mother fell, and the last thing she saw was fire swallowing her world. The vision ended. The humans collapsed to their knees, some vomiting, some sobbing. The pain of that memory was too sharp, too raw. But the alien girl stood in silence, her tears glowing faint. She had lived it. She had carried that fire inside her since the moment her body was broken. Marin reached out, steadying the girl as she swayed. "You survived," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "You carried all of this inside you, and still you live." The girl's lips trembled. Her voice came soft, but the words were clear. "Not just me. More. They hunt." Survivors. The room went still. The humans looked at each other, horror spreading. If she was not the only one, then somewhere across the stars, others like her might still live. But if the hunters had found her here, they would find them too. The silence broke when the colony shook violently. Metal screamed as shockwaves tore through its frame. The first strike had landed. Elias's voice thundered through the intercom. "All stations, prepare for defense. They've begun their attack." The crew scrambled, pulling on gear, rushing to weapon stations. But in the lab, the girls. Glow brightened. She clutched Marin's hand, eyes wide with fear. "They will not stop," she said, her words breaking but desperate. "They will burn this place too." Marin's heart raced. She looked at Elias, who had entered the lab with soldiers at his back. His face was grim, his voice heavy. "If we give them what they want, maybe." "They'll leave," he said. Gasps rippled through the crew. The alien girl shook her head violently, her glow flaring. "No. No. They. Kill all, always." Her words cracked like broken glass, but they rang true. The images still burned in the humans' minds. The hunters never spared, never bargained. They only destroyed. Elias knew she spoke the truth, but his crew's eyes were on him. He was their captain, their shield, their only chance to survive. He could not admit what his gut already screamed. That survival might be impossible. Not with this enemy. Not tonight. The colony shuddered again. A deeper impact this time. Panels burst from the walls, sparks flying. Over the coms, voices screamed. "They've breached the outer ring. Shields are failing. We can't hold them." Elias turned sharply to Marin. "We move her now," he ordered. Marin clutched the girl protectively. "Where?" "There's no place safe." The captain's eyes narrowed. "Then we make one." The soldiers lifted weapons, forming a shield. Around them as they left the lab, The alien girl stumbled, weak but glowing brighter with every step. It was as if her body itself was preparing, not to run, but to face what was coming. As they moved through the trembling halls, the girl's head jerked suddenly, her eyes flared, and she whispered, "They are inside." The words came too late. From the shadows ahead, metal tore open, figures stepped through towering hunters, armored in black steel, their eyes burning red. The soldiers opened fire instantly, bullets tearing through the air. But the hunters did not fall. They moved like shadows, their weapons hissing, cutting men down in flashes of light. Elias pulled Marin and the girl behind cover, firing his own rifle with cold precision. But for every hunter that staggered, two more appeared. The colony was no battlefield. It was a slaughterhouse. The alien girl pressed her hands to her head, screaming. Her glow surged brighter. The air crackled with strange energy. The hunters froze for a heartbeat, as if their steps faltered. The humans saw it. Even the predators feared her. Marin grabbed her shoulders, shouting over the chaos, "Whatever you are, whatever power you have, use it." The girl shook, her glowing veins pulsing wildly. "I don't know how," she sobbed. Her eyes met Marin's, desperate, pleading. "You help me." The hunters advanced, their weapons raised. Elias knew they had seconds left, and in that moment, with the walls collapsing, fire roaring closer, the humans and the alien girl stood on the edge of a choice: fight with a power they did not understand, or be erased like her people before them. The girl's glow rose again, brighter, stronger. Her body trembled as the first wave of hunters charged. And then, with a scream that shook the air, the light burst outward. The explosion of light from the alien girl shook the corridor. Hunters staggered back, their armored bodies freezing for the first time. The glow spread like a wave, crawling over the steel walls, bending shadows into sharp shapes. For a moment, even the sound of battle paused. The humans gasped as they saw the hunters hesitate, their red eyes flickering like dying embers. It was as if the girl's very presence broke something inside them. But the moment was brief. The hunters roared, weapons raised, tearing through the glow with sheer force. Energy blasts split the air, ripping metal apart. The soldiers returned. Fire, but their bullets barely slowed the enemy. The colony was shaking, every impact echoing through its bones. Sparks rained down like falling stars. The humans were trapped in a storm. And in the middle of it all stood the girl, trembling, her glow rising again. Captain Elias dragged Marin behind cover, his voice hard. "She's their target, and they won't stop until they have her." Marin's eyes burned with fury. "Then, we don't let them take her, no matter what it costs." The captain's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. He knew her words were madness, yet something inside him agreed. If they gave her up, the hunters would kill them anyway. Better to fight, better to die on their feet. The hunters advanced, their footsteps shaking the floor. One soldier screamed as a blade of light cut through him, his body falling in two. Another was slammed into a wall, armor crushed like paper. The crew fired until their rifles overheated, the air thick with smoke and blood. Still, the hunters came, relentless, merciless. They were not soldiers. They were executioners. The alien girl's hands shook violently, her veins glowing brighter with each heartbeat. Her eyes widened as she felt the hunter's presence pressing into her mind. They were calling to her, pulling her, chains of fire and shadow wrapping around her thoughts. She screamed, clutching her head. "No, no, leave me." The walls pulsed with her cry, glass shattering, lights bursting. For the first time, the hunters faltered, some stumbling as if struck by invisible force. Marin grabbed her shoulders, shouting over the chaos, "You can fight them. Listen to me. Whatever they did to you, whatever they made you see, it doesn't control you anymore." The girl's glowing eyes locked on Marin's face. Trembling with fear and hope, her lips moved, broken words escaping. You? Help me, human. Help me. The hunters roared in unison, their voices shaking the air. More of them poured through. The broken walls, filling the corridor with black armor and burning eyes. There were too many. The humans could not win this fight. Elias saw it, felt it in his bones. Fall back, he shouted, his voice breaking through the madness. Get to the core, seal the doors. The soldiers dragged the wounded, firing wildly as they retreated. The hunters followed, cutting through walls, never slowing. The alien girl stumbled beside Marin, her body weak, but her glow kept growing. Every step made her brighter, until shadows bent away from her like frightened animals. The humans noticed. One soldier whispered, "She's the only weapon we've got," but no one dared say it louder. They reached the central chamber of the colony, a vast open space lined with steel supports and humming reactors. It was the heart of the outpost. And now, it was the last stand. Elias ordered the blast doors sealed, massive slabs of metal slamming. Shut for a moment, silence returned, broken only by the ragged breathing of the crew. Some prayed, others reloaded weapons with shaking hands. Marin sat with the girl, brushing glowing strands of hair from her face. "You are stronger than them," she whispered. "They fear you. That's why they want you. But you don't belong to them anymore." The girl's lips trembled, her eyes glowed like burning silver as she whispered back, "I remember fire, I remember chains, but I also remember your face." She reached a shaking hand toward Marin's cheek. Her fingers glowed softly, warm, gentle. "The first face," she whispered. "Human." Before Marin could answer, the walls shook violently. The blast doors glowed red as the hunters cut through them. Their weapons screamed, sparks flying, steel melting. The soldiers raised rifles, voices tight with fear. "They're breaking through." Elias gripped his weapon tighter, his voice hard as iron. "This is it. We hold here or we die here." The doors burst open, hunters pouring in like a tide of darkness. The humans unleashed everything they had. Bullets, grenades, energy bursts. The air shook with explosions, screams, and fire. But the hunters kept coming, their blades slicing through men, their eyes burning brighter. The floor was painted red, bodies falling one after another. The colony itself groaned, steel bending under the weight of destruction. The alien girl rose slowly, her glow now so bright it hurt to look at her. Her body trembled, but she stood tall, her hands outstretched. The hunters froze mid-step, their red eyes flickering. For the first time, they hesitated. A ripple of fear passed through their ranks. Elias saw it, his eyes widening. "They're afraid of her," he whispered. Marin held her breath. This was the moment. The choice. The girl's voice rose, no longer broken, no longer weak. "You hunted my people. You earned my home." Her words echoed like thunder. Her veins blazed like rivers of light. And then the air itself exploded with her power. Hunters were thrown back, their armor cracking, their weapons falling silent. The humans shielded their eyes. As waves of energy tore through the chamber, the colony shook, walls splitting, reactors screaming. But still she stood, her body glowing like a star. Her scream pierced the void. "No more!" The hunters stumbled, their red eyes dimming. Some collapsed, writhing as their armor dissolved. Others fled back into the shadows, their fear finally breaking them. The humans gasped, their weapons falling silent. They were not fighting anymore. They were watching something beyond war, something not human, not alien, something greater. The girl fell to her knees, her glow fading. Marin rushed to her, catching her before she hit the floor. The girl's lips trembled, her eyes half closed. "They will not stop, more will come," she whispered weakly. Marin held her close, whispering back, "Then let them come. They'll face us together, But Elias's eyes darkened as he looked at the broken blast doors. The battle was not over. This was only the beginning. The hunters had tasted fear tonight, but they would return with fire. And when they did, the fate of not just the colony, but all of humanity, would hang on the fragile bond between one alien girl and the first human face she ever saw. The central chamber of the colony was silent. Smoke drifted through broken walls, sparks hissed from shattered panels, and the stench of blood lingered in the air. Dozens of hunters lay scattered, their armor cracked, their bodies unmoving. The survivors of the human crew leaned against walls, exhausted, weapons trembling in their hands. They had lived through the impossible. They had faced a force that should have destroyed them, and yet they still breathed. At the heart of it all, the alien girl lay weak in Marin's arms. Her glow had dimmed to a faint shimmer, her body trembling like a flame about to die, her eyes fluttered open, silver light flickering faintly within. She whispered, her voice soft, "They will come back." The words sent a chill through every human in the room. They knew she was right. This victory was only a pause. The hunters were not defeated, they had only retreated. Captain Elias stood apart from the others, staring at the ruined blast doors. He had fought wars before, but never against enemies like these. Never against something that carried both terror and hope in the same fragile form. He clenched his fists, his mind torn between duty and survival. His voice broke the silence. "If they return with more ships, this colony won't last another hour." The crew murmured in fear. "What if they bring an army?" One whispered, "We can't fight that, not with what's left." Another voice trembled, "They'll come for her again. They'll never stop until they take her." Their eyes drifted to the girl. Some looked with pity, others with suspicion. To them, she was both a child and a weapon, both the reason they were alive and the reason they were doomed. Dr. Marin's voice cut through their whispers, sharp with defiance. "Then we protect her, no matter the cost." The crew turned to her in shock. "Protect her? She's the reason they're here." A soldier shouted, "If we give her to them, maybe they'll leave us alone." The girl's eyes widened, fear flashing across her face. Her weak voice trembled. "No. They never leave. They kill all." The memory of her vision still burned inside their skulls, her people's towers falling, her mother's last scream, the hunters cutting through without mercy. The humans fell silent because deep down, they knew she spoke the truth. There would be no bargain, no surrender, only fire. Elias stepped closer, his voice low and heavy. "She's right. They won't spare us. Not even if we give her up." He paused, his eyes hard. "But that doesn't mean we can survive by keeping her." His words cut through the chamber like a blade. The crew shifted uneasily, torn between their captain and the scientist who now clutched the alien girl like a mother would her child. The girl sat up slowly, her body trembling. She looked at Marin, then at Elias, then at the frightened faces around her. Her voice was fragile, yet each word carried weight. "If I stay, you all die. If I go, maybe you live." Her glow flickered faintly, as if her very life dimmed with the words. Marin shook her head violently. "No, don't say that. You don't understand your life matters too. You are not just something to throw away." Tears burned in her eyes. "You survived the fire of your world. You are not meant to die here in ours." The girl's hand lifted weakly, brushing Marin's cheek. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "You first face, but not last. I don't belong here." Her eyes drifted to Elias, searching his face for judgment. But his expression was unreadable, carved from stone. The silence stretched until the colony shook again, a deep, low rumble that echoed through the metal bones of the station. Everyone froze. The hunters were not gone. They were gathering, waiting, circling like wolves for the next strike. Time was running out. Elias's voice came sharp and hard. We make a choice now. Do we fight beside her and risk everything, or let her go and hope she can draw them away? The crew erupted in argument, voices overlapping. Some shouted to protect her, others to send her away. Fear fought against loyalty, survival against morality. But in the middle of it all, Marin's voice rose above the chaos. She's not our burden, she's our chance. Her eyes blazed with fury. Don't. You see? They fear her. For the first time, we made them hesitate. If we stand with her, maybe humanity won't just survive this. Maybe we'll finally fight back. The crew fell silent. The girl's eyes widened, shimmering with tears. Her lips parted, whispering, "Fight." Together? Her voice trembled, filled with disbelief. She had lost everything. Her people, her home, her family, and yet here, among strangers. The word together still existed. Elias turned away, his jaw tight. His instincts screamed to keep his crew alive at any cost. But another part of him, buried deep, stirred with something else, something he had not felt in years: hope. He finally spoke, his voice heavy but firm. "We stand. All of us. If they want her, they'll have to go through us first." The crew's fear did not vanish, but in their captain's words, they found something to hold on to. Some clenched their weapons tighter, some nodded silently. Even the wounded straightened, ready to fight again. It was not courage that filled them. It was resolve. A shared decision, a single choice. The alien girl stared at them, trembling, her glow brightened softly. A fragile light, her lips curved into the smallest of smiles. For the first time since the fire, she did not feel alone. But outside, the hunters were not idle. Their ships circled the colony like vultures, their weapons charged with fire that could split worlds. They were patient predators, and they would return. Stronger, hungrier, unstoppable, inside. The ruined chamber, the humans tightened their grips. The girl closed her eyes, whispering to herself in her broken tongue. Her veins glowed brighter. Her body preparing. The choice was made. There would be no surrender, no running. Only one path remained: to fight together. And as the colony shook once more, the hunters began their descent. The storm was coming, and this time there would be no retreat. The colony groaned like a dying beast. Panels rattled loose from the walls. Sparks fell like rain, and the hum of failing engines echoed through every corridor. Outside, the void burned with crimson light. Dozens of hunter ships circled, their weapons glowing like eyes of fire. They were no longer patient, no longer testing. They had come to end it inside the central chamber. Silence pressed heavy on the survivors. The crew stood in ragged lines, weapons shaking in tired hands. They were bruised, bloodied, but not broken. They had made their choice, and now they waited for the storm to fall. Captain Elias walked the line, his boots echoing on steel. His eyes swept over his crewmen and women who had followed him through countless dangers. But never had he seen their eyes like this. They were afraid, yes, but also resolved. No one would run. Not this time. At the center, Dr. Marin sat with the alien girl, her arms wrapped around the trembling figure. The girl's glow had grown brighter again, veins shining silver blue beneath her skin. Her hair drifted faintly, as if moved by a wind that did not exist. Her eyes opened, glowing like stars. She looked at Marin, her voice fragile but firm. "They will come, but I am ready." Marin brushed glowing strands of hair from her face, whispering, "You're not alone anymore. Remember that, whatever happens, we face it together." The girl nodded weakly. Her gaze turned toward the broken glass doors. Her lips moved, whispering a word she had learned from them. Together. The floor shook violently. The hunters had landed. The ground vibrated with their march. Each step was heavy, a drumbeat of death echoing closer. The crew gripped their weapons tighter. The sound of safeties clicking into place sharp in the tense air. Elias raised his rifle, his voice cutting through the silence. This is it. We hold the line. No one falls alone. The blast doors split open in a roar of sparks and fire. Hunters poured through, a tide of black steel and burning red eyes. Their weapons screamed, beams of fire slicing the air. The humans answered with everything they had. Bullets, grenades, explosives shook the chamber. The clash was thunder. The air itself trembled with death. The first line of soldiers fell, their bodies cut apart in flashes of light. Screens filled a chamber, but no one broke. They fired until their rifles melted in their hands. They fought with blades, with fists, with rage. Every second bought was a miracle. Every step back was a grave paid in blood. Elias roared commands, dragging wounded men to cover, firing with cold precision. But even he felt the truth pressing in. They could not hold, not against this. The hunters were endless, their shadows swallowing the light. Then the girl rose. Her glow surged brighter, filling the chamber with silver-blue fire. The hunters froze mid-stride, their red eyes flickering. She stepped forward slowly, her bare feet leaving glowing prints on the steel. Her voice rose, no longer fragile. It rang clear, echoing like thunder. No more. Energy exploded outward, a wave of light crashing through the hunters. Armor cracked, weapons shattered, bodies slammed into walls. The humans shielded their eyes as shadows burned away. For the first time, the hunters screamed, not in triumph, but in fear. The girl's body lifted from the floor, hovering above them. Her veins blazed like rivers of light, her eyes two suns burning with fury and sorrow. Her voice shook the air. You hunted my people. You burned my world. But I am still here. The hunters rallied, roaring as they poured fire upon her. Blades of energy, bolts of plasma tore through the air, but none touched her. The light bent, folded, shattered their weapons before they reached her. Her glow only grew stronger. The colony walls shook as her power surged. She was no longer just a girl. She was a storm. Marin fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face as she whispered, "She's not just surviving, she's becoming." The hunters faltered, some retreating, their red eyes dimming with fear. But their leaders pushed forward, massive figures clad in jagged armor. They raised their weapons in unison, pouring all their fire into her light. The chamber filled with thunder and flame. The floor split, supports bent, ceilings cracked. But the girl did not fall. Her scream cut through the fire, and the fire broke. The hunters collapsed in waves, their bodies crumbling, their armor dissolving. Into ash, the survivors tried to flee, but her light followed them, tearing through their shadows. The humans watched in awe and terror. They were no longer fighting. They were witnessing something beyond them, something both divine and terrifying. Elias lowered his rifle slowly, his hard eyes softening. "She's winning," he whispered. But even as he spoke, he saw the cost. The girl's body shook violently, cracks of light tearing through her skin. Her veins blazed too bright, too fast. Her power was burning her alive. Marin screamed, "Stop! You'll destroy yourself." But the girl did not stop. Her voice echoed, raking the air. "If I fall, they win. If I burn, they die." Her light surged one final time, bursting through the colony like a star exploding. The hunters screamed as they were erased, their ships outside shattering into fire. The void lit up as flames consumed the predators. And then, silence. The chamber was ruined. Walls cracked, floors torn apart. Smoke drifted through the air, ash falling like snow. The humans lay scattered, alive but broken. And at the center, the girl collapsed, her glow fading. Marin crawled to her, clutching her trembling body. Her voice broke with tears. "You saved us. You saved all of us." The girl's eyes flickered open weakly. Her lips moved, her final word soft, fragile, human. Her hand fell limp, her glow dimmed, and the chamber went dark. But in the silence, in the hearts of every survivor, something had changed. They had seen a force greater than fear. They had seen an enemy that could bleed. And they had seen a fragile bond between human and alien that carried hope through fire. The hunters would return, but so would she. For from a single hand, life had been reborn, and that life was no longer alone.